Today, we're jumping into one of the greatest stories ever told, a classic from Journey to the West. It's all about how you take an unstoppable, almost godlike warrior and, well, bring him to heel.
And really, this is the question that drives the whole story. I mean, think about it. How do you control a hero who's just too powerful for his own good? You've got Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. He's unbelievably strong, super loyal, but man, is he arrogant and violent. His master needs him to survive, but he just can't stomach the way Wukong does things. So what's the solution when your greatest protector is also your biggest problem?
All right, so let's set the scene. It all starts with a fundamental problem, a clash of ideals between a peaceful monk and a very, very powerful monkey. Okay, so picture this. It's a cold morning. The monk Tang Sanzang and his disciple, the Monkey King Sun Wukong, are on this epic journey. All of a sudden, they're ambushed by 6 really nasty bandits. Tang Sanzang, the monk, he's terrified, but Wukong, not even sweating.
And Wukong's first words to these bandits? "Dare you offend your grandpa here?" I mean, wow, that just shows you his sheer arrogance. He doesn't see them as a threat at all, just an inconvenience. Calling himself their grandpa is like the ultimate flex, basically saying, you little kids have no clue who you're dealing with. This is pure, absolute dominance.
And you know what? He backs it up. In a blink, he whips out his famous golden hoop stick, and it's over. Just like that. He doesn't just wound them or scare them away. Nope. He kills all 6 of them, instantly. The threat is gone. Neutralized. In the most brutal way possible. And this right here, this is the heart of their problem. You've got Tang Sanzang, the monk. For him, it's all about compassion, non-violence, spiritual purity. Then you have Sun Wukong. For him, it's about one thing. Protection. His method? Absolute overwhelming power. Their entire worldviews are on a collision course. So as you can probably guess, that brutal display of efficiency did not go over well. The partnership is about to completely fall apart. The monk is just horrified. You'd think he'd say, "Thank you for saving my life," right? Nope. He immediately lays into Wukong, telling him, "You have committed too many crimes." For the monk, this wasn't protection, it was a terrible sin that just ruined their holy quest. And Wukong is just looking at him, completely confused. He's thinking, "Master, if I didn't kill them, they were going to kill you." From his point of view, he did his job perfectly. It was simple logic. Why can't the monk see that? But Tang Sanzang isn't having any of it. He doesn't care about the practical side of things, he cares about his principles. He basically says, monks are supposed to be compassionate. What you just did, that is not how we operate. Wukong completely trampled all over everything the monk believes in. And that is it. That's the last straw for Wukong. He's proud, he's impatient, and he's just done with all the nagging. He literally says, "I'm too lazy to listen to this. I'm going back to Huago Mountain to be a king." And just like that, he quits. He's gone. So now, the monk is all alone. Wukong is gone. It seems like the journey is over. But just when things look their worst, we get a little divine intervention. So there's Tang Sanzang, just sitting there, totally helpless and alone. He has no protector, no plan. He's in deep trouble. And then, out of thin air, a mysterious old woman shows up. Now, this is no ordinary old woman. She's actually a Bodhisattva in disguise. What's a Bodhisattva? Think of it like a divine being who puts their own enlightenment on hold just to help out us mortals down on Earth. So the monk tells her the whole story, everything that happened with Wukong. And after listening, she offers him a solution. She gives him this incredible set of clothes and a cap, calls it a treasure, and teaches him a secret mantra, a special chant. And then, poof, she vanishes in a flash of golden light, revealing who she really is. Suddenly, the monk has a way forward. Okay, so now we're at the setup for the trap. And it's a brilliant one, because it doesn't rely on strength. It preys on Wukong's biggest weakness, his own vanity. Meanwhile, Wukong's flying home, but he's starting to feel a little bad about leaving his master high and dry. He just can't shake the feeling that he needs to go back. So he does, and when he gets there, he finds the monk just waiting, with food and this beautiful set of clothes laid out. It's like he knew he'd be back. And this is where the trap is sprung. Wukong, who loves to look good, sees the amazing clothes, and his vanity just takes over.
He goes, "Master, those are beautiful. Can I try them on?" He has absolutely no idea he's about to walk right into his own cage.
You gotta admit, the monk's plan is pretty slick. Step 1, lure him back with kindness and forgiveness. Step 2, tempt him with those gorgeous clothes. Step 3, just wait for Wukong's own ego to do the work it put on the cap. And finally, step 4, once it's on his head, spring the trap.
And just like that, the trap works. The untamable Monkey King is finally about to be brought under control, and the relationship between these two will never be the same again.
The moment the cap is on, the monk starts secretly chanting that mantra, and the pain is instant. It's agonizing. Wukong is screaming, "Oh, master, it hurts so much. My head feels like it's splitting open." And in that moment, he realizes the tables have turned. The monk has power over him now. He tries to rip it off his head, but it's completely stuck. See, inside that cap was a golden hoop, and it has magically fused right to his skull. The book says it's like it grew roots into his head. It's never coming off. It's a permanent reminder of who's really in charge.
The pain is so bad that Wukong just gives in completely. He begs his master to stop, promising he'll never disobey again. Just like that, the proud, rebellious Monkey King is gone. In his place is a disciple who knows he has to listen. Lesson learned the hard way.
And that leaves us with a really tough question, doesn't it? The monk used a trick, a deception to get control. So, was this a necessary evil? Did he have to do it to keep the mission going and channel Wukong's incredible power for good? Or was it a pretty painful betrayal? A trick to break the will of his most loyal protector? Something to think about.